Hello, 안녕하세요. Hi, my name is Graeme. I'm the CTO of Mirror.xyz, and I'll be speaking about Web3 publishing. So I'm curious before I begin, who here knows about Mirror.xyz? Can I see? Okay, a few people. Great. Okay, so what is Mirror.xyz? It's a Web3 publishing platform. It's become one of the main places that people make Web3 announcements. We have lots of projects on there announcing their new forms of organization and interesting things that they're doing. And lots of people also do a lot of thought leadership. And so it's become a great place for blogging and for project announcements. Some examples, this is Optimism. So they were speaking today. They announced their token on Mirror. We have writers like Polinia, it's very well known in the Ethereum space, Chase Chapman, and a few 100,000 other users. So what makes Mirror Web3 publishing? What makes it Web3? A few things. The first one is that writers log in with their Ethereum accounts. We view the Ethereum account as the new primary identity of the web. We don't use email and password to log in. So if you use something like Naver is popular here, or Medium or Substack, usually you're using an email and password, but on Mirror, you'll use your public and private keys through something like MetaMask, for example. Okay, so here, this is actually a video that I want to play. Could you guys play? Amazing, cool. So this is the Mirror homepage. Ironically, it's actually being updated tomorrow, but this is the current state of it. And here we have a list of the entries on Mirror, a few of them that stand out, and I'm just going to show you the basics of how Mirror works here. So taking a look, you can see a lot of these are projects. ENS, they announced their token on Mirror. Here's a post, the unbundling of OpenSea. Here's another one. And you can see a few things. You know, it's a traditional blogging platform in a lot of ways, but then it has these really interesting other aspects of it. So you'll notice every now and then you will see Ethereum addresses, and usually those are links to Ethereum Etherscan pages where you can go and explore more about the writer. So here, for example, I'm going to click on this link, and I can actually go and explore the other things that this writer has done in Web3. And that's really interesting because you're bringing the Web3 network into the product here. And that just makes it a lot more powerful for exploration and you know, for interoperability between products. Here you can see Brantley.eth, so we're also integrating with ENS. If you sign up to Mirror, you can sign up with your ENS address, and then you can, you know, again, you can see more about that user. So bringing in the Ethereum identity into the product. And then at the bottom here, we have this little, we call this the nutrition label. It's another way to just show you know, the important parts of the identity system of Ethereum in the blog post. And here we have signing up. So to sign up, we're going to connect our MetaMask. And as Phil showed in the previous presentation, we're going to sign a message here with the Ethereum wallet to sign in. So this is cryptographically proving that the user wants to sign in to Mirror, and that's how they're creating their account. And here is, you know, the dashboard once I've signed in. And I'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. Yeah, settings. So every setting on Mirror that you update, when you update your name or your profile photo, you're signing those with your Ethereum key, and that gets saved, and that can be shared, and you can use that basically anywhere because it's proof that is from your Ethereum identity. It's not something that's walled into Mirror's product like it would be on something like Facebook, for example. Okay. So Next slide. Okay, so the Ethereum address is able to sign messages, and so all content on Mirror is signed with this address. The authorship of every post is therefore always verifiable, and the entries then get stored into a decentralized file storage system outside of Mirror. There's a link at the bottom of every post to an externally hosted copy of the entry's content and the authorship signature. Okay, so you might wonder, why is this so important? But it means that those posts will always be available on this decentralized network with all of the proof of authorship connected to your Web3 Ethereum account, even if Mirror goes away. And that is incredibly important because once something is published on Mirror, Mirror doesn't have ownership over the content anymore. And the writer can always find and rebuild their publication, and anyone else can find and rebuild an author's publication from that information that's saved on the decentralized file storage systems. And this is just not true of Web 2 platforms. So for example, if Twitter bans an account or goes out of business, and the authors will then lose all of their data. And that's happened to many people. They get what we call deplatformed from these Web 2 networks. And so we believe that the platforms shouldn't have ownership over the user's creative work. They should be free to exit. And I think that that's really important for freedom of speech, and it's going to just become table stakes for products in the future. Okay, so here we have another little video. So if we could run this one. This is Optimism. And so they're introducing it's time for a new chapter. They're introducing the Optimism Collective, and this is how they did their token and how they described governance for their network. This is an incredibly important piece of information for Web3, and I don't believe that this is something that should go on a platform like Medium, for example, where one, the identity isn't strongly tied to an Ethereum address like Optimism through cryptographic signatures. And I don't think it should be on a platform that would be able to censor this content or delete it. And so it's really important to me that, you know, Mirror takes those signatures and the post content and then goes and stores it on a decentralized file storage system so it's always available for the rest of time. And anybody can go and get that information and rebuild a front end so that it's independent of Mirror. So here I mentioned that at the bottom of every post, there's a link to an externally hosted file of the content, including the signatures. And so that's what I'm going to show you here. This is using something called Arweave, which is one of the decentralized file storage systems. And this is a link to the post content. So you can see from the URL, this has nothing to do with Mirror. It's actually stored completely separately. And there are certain mathematical guarantees that this will or game theoretic guarantees that this will stay around for perpetuity. So here we have all of the post content, all of the signatures that are required, and some information about on-chain information of this post as well. And all of this can be used to basically recreate the Mirror front end without needing Mirror itself. So users are always free to exit, and developers can build on top. This is our developer blog, and I wanted to show you that we're quite public in showing people how to go and access this content outside of Mirror. So we wrote this post that gives very good, simple instructions for developers to be able to go and use the Arweave JavaScript SDK to go and pull that information. And here's the code. It's very simple. And so in future, we're going to spend more time working on developer tools to build up really easy ways for developers to go and get all of their data and build new front ends on top of the Mirror publishing protocol that will be independent of the Mirror website. Okay. Cool. So Mirror also focuses on making an excellent user experience, and we think that focusing on product design makes it easier for anyone to start publishing in Web3, even if they don't understand more complicated topics in crypto like DeFi. So it's one of these, as the introduction said, it's sort of a non-financial use case of crypto. All you need is a wallet to log in and start publishing, but you don't actually need to have assets. You don't need to have Ether to publish. It's just really simple. And that makes Mirror an excellent place for users to start having a voice in Web3, with a very clear path to exit from Mirror if they prefer something else. So it's very low stakes to get started. It's very easy. It's free. And that's why we think it's a great place just to get started. Okay, another quick clip. If you could play this. Could you play this clip, please? Thanks. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to get started. This is the Mirror dashboard. I've signed in here with my Ethereum account, and we have a nice little guide on how to use the editor. So we spent some time investing in user education just to make this really easy. And I have my post content here. Creating an entry, it looks very similar to what you would expect from a traditional blogging platform. And that's sort of all you need to know is, how to type something, and you can get it published on Web3. And this is something that the more you publish on a platform like Mirror, the more you're going to have an identity in Web3. And people will be able to look at the things that you are doing in Web3, and they'll be able to understand who you are, what things you care about, and that will be really important as we start to do things like DAOs and form communities around themes and topics in this space. And then eventually for things like that require trust, such as lending and other things in DeFi that we want to have real credibility. Here I'm showing an example of some of the blocks that you can add when you are using Mirror. So you can embed an NFT. We've also had things like crowd funds being embedded into posts and NFT edition sales. So this can also be a platform that you use not just for speaking and for writing, but also for selling things or raising funds. And we'll be adding more of those sort of plugins in the future. And yeah, that's how easy it is to publish something. Just going back to the dashboard to clean up here. Yeah, pretty simple. Almost Web 2-like in its simplicity. Cool. But there's a lot more that a Web3 publishing platform can do. One is that every post on Mirror is a collectible NFT. We call these collectible entries. And for example, an entry by one of our writers, Chase Chapman, was minted recently as a collectible NFT, and she sold 333 editions of that entry, which ended up being $5,200, which is not bad for a blog post. If you posted something on Mirror, Medium, or Substack, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to make money from it like this. And she had this quote in the piece that I thought was really great. She said, "To co-own something is to have a connection with someone. And so while individual ownership is great, collective ownership is the true social primitive in Web3. And I want to discuss how writers are building communities of collectors who are funding their work. And these communities are forming around the concepts and ideas that writers are writing about in their pieces on Mirror. The collectors are also building up a library of entries that are meaningful to them, while funding the writers that they love to read. And this library becomes part of their Web3 identity, just as much as the content that they're actually writing on the platform. So here's an example. The founder of Pool Together wrote that the collection feature on Mirror is his new favorite crypto thing, because he's collecting entries and paying something like $5 to $15, and that's what he would usually pay for a book, but now he's getting an NFT that he puts into his wallet, and it's part of his identity, but he's also funding these writers that he loves. And then here are some people talking about their collections on Twitter, and they're basically saying, hey, what's your collection? Let me go and check it out. Here's mine, and we can get to know each other better through the things that we are passionate about, the topics that we want to read. It's almost like having a bookshelf or library at home, and then your friends come over and you get to show them like the books that you're reading. By getting funded through NFTs, the writers can also keep their work public and open and not have it paywalled to subscribers only. The internet is filled at the moment with paywalled content, from academia to a lot of blogging platforms, they gate the content and make it private unless you become a paid subscriber. And this is a way to keep the content open, but also have funding be a viable option. So for collectors, the work actually becomes more valuable the more that people read it. So it's sort of like a meme. If you have a very famous piece of writing and you are an early collector, it's actually better if more people read it. And so it's really healthy for the internet to have this model. Now I'm going to show a little bit about like how the funding works when you're publishing an entry on Mirror and how that NFT flow looks like as a writer. So here you can choose to publish, and by default the entries will be collectible for free. And anyone can collect them, but then you can also enable funding. So if you want to earn some money from the post when people collect, you can set a price in ETH. So here, for example, I'm setting $1 in ETH and a supply of 2,000, so I'd make about $2,000 if it's sold out as a collectible. And you can change that, or you can set it to be free, just depending on what your goals are. Maybe you just want to build a community of people who own the NFT, and maybe you make it free in that case, or maybe you want to earn some money. So here is Chase Chapman's piece, blog that I was speaking about earlier, where she made $5,000 on one of her pieces, and you can see there is a little badge in the right-hand side here that shows the number of collectors. There's 333 collectors. And we can look at that, and so she can understand who her audience is by looking at this list of collectors, and she can click into this, and because they are Web3 identities, she will be able to see the other things that they're doing on the Ethereum network. So for example, she can look at the other collections, the other NFTs that person has collected within Mirror, or even go to like Etherscan and see the other things that they're doing on Web3. So she would find out that one of her collectors also collected this piece by Li Jin on A Theory of Justice. And as she explores, she can find out more things that are interesting about her network, which will give her more information about her audience and what they care about. Okay. And I am out of time. But I wanted to say one more thing, which is when readers subscribe to writers on Mirror, they use their Ethereum account to subscribe. And that makes the communities Web3 enabled. And that allows projects to engage with their communities in new ways. For example, they could airdrop NFTs to all of their subscribers, giving them access to content or special events, or speaking with them through up-and-coming messaging protocols that are starting to arise. And you just can't do that with the current Web2 model of email-only subscriptions. So that was a very brief introduction to Mirror. I hope that you all check it out. And thank you very much for inviting me to Seoul. Thank you.